The drama surrounding Shadur Sanders has become more than just another sports headline. It's a mirror reflecting how impossible it is to control public perception. Every move he makes, every look, every word or silence is torn apart, analyzed, and twisted to fit someone's narrative. What one person calls confidence, another calls arrogance. What some praise as leadership, others label as immaturity. And in this war of opinions, Shedeur stands at the center, balancing between admiration and attack, damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. From the moment he stepped into the league, the microscope has followed him everywhere. But recently that lens has intensified. After weeks of relentless criticism and online chaos, the outrage that once surrounded him is beginning to shift. The backlash is fading, replaced by a growing wave of support. And this time, that support is coming from some of the biggest names in football. Cam Newton, never one to bite his tongue, became the loudest voice defending Shedeur. In a bold, unapologetic statement, Newton called out the hypocrisy that's been brewing in the NFL media for years. He didn't just talk about Shedeur's situation, he dissected it. He exposed the double standards that have long defined how young black quarterbacks are treated, especially those who refuse to conform. Newton pointed directly at the media circus orbiting Cleveland, describing how every minor gesture or facial expression from Shedeur somehow becomes national news. "You can't control people," Newton said, "and you can't control what they make of you." Cam's words hit a nerve because they came from experience. He knows what it feels like to be under fire for simply being himself. He's lived through it. The MVP seasons followed by media takedowns, the highlight reels overshadowed by headlines about attitude. When he looked at Shedeur, he saw more than a rookie quarterback. He saw a younger version of himself. Someone the system couldn't figure out how to package. Someone who didn't ask permission to be authentic. Newton didn't stop there. He reminded fans and analysts alike that Shedeur is making history in a way no one's ever seen before. He's the first fifth-round, third-string quarterback in NFL history to get this kind of support, Cam said. And he's right. Despite being low on the depth chart, Shedeur has become a phenomenon. His name trending week after week, his highlights going viral even from limited playtime. It's the kind of grassroots popularity that threatens the status quo. Newton believes this organic wave of fan backing is making people inside the NFL nervous. They're not used to seeing someone outside their control capture this much attention. That fear, Newton argued, is driving the media's obsession with tearing Shedeur down. Every throw, every comment, every sideline interaction becomes fuel for headlines. Even when he performs well, the critics twist it into arrogance. When he stays quiet, they call it immaturity. When he defends himself, they call it ego. It's always critique, Newton said. Always. But the criticism doesn't just come from talking heads. It's creeping into the locker room, too. Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur's own teammate and positional rival, recently stirred things up with a subtle but cutting social media post. He implied that while he doesn't care what fans or analysts say, he considers himself more of a team guy. The message wasn't hard to decode. It was a quiet shot across the bow, a way to paint himself as the mature one while letting Shedeur shoulder the image of the lone wolf. The tension between the two has been palpable ever since. Some teammates reportedly view Gabriel's words as unnecessary, while others think he said what everyone was thinking. Either way, it added fuel to a fire that was already burning. Inside the Browns facility, it's no longer just about football. It's about perception, power, and who the organization will stand behind when things get messy. Meanwhile, media veterans like Stephen A. Smith have tried to play the role of advisor. On his show, Stephen A. didn't sugarcoat the truth. Being Deion Sanders' son is both a blessing and a curse. "Every little thing you do is under a microscope because of who your dad is," he said. It was less of a warning and more of a reality check. No matter how good Shedeur is, he'll never be judged solely on his own merit. He'll always carry the weight of his father's legacy, prime-time swagger, prime-time's confidence, prime-time's spotlight, and with that spotlight comes scrutiny, unlike anything most players could handle. For some, it would crush them. For others, it becomes fuel. The question is, which will it be for Shedeur? Ryan Clark, another respected voice in football commentary, weighed in with his own dose of reality. His message was blunt. The media is going to twist everything Shedeur says or does. It's not fair, but it's inevitable. Clark's advice was to face it head on.
"You can't avoid it," he said.
You take control by being honest, by being direct. To Clark, silence only gives critics more room to define you. Speaking your truth, even if it sparks backlash, at least ensures it's your story being told. It's a perspective born from hard experience. Clark's seen how narratives are built in real time, how a single quote can be reframed, how a moment of frustration can turn into a controversy. He believes that the only way Shedeur survives the storm is by refusing to let others write his legacy for him. Cam Newton, though, sees things differently. To him, the problem isn't Shedeur's silence, it's the world's addiction to control. "You can't make him what you want him to be because it's not that," he said passionately. Newton believes that Shedeur's defiance, his refusal to play by the media's script, is what makes him special. It's what separates him from the noise. To Cam, the attacks are proof that Shadur is doing something right. Because if you weren't a threat, no one would try so hard to tear you down. Still, Newton knows the cost of that kind of independence. The league punishes those who don't conform. Fans adore confidence when you're winning, but despise it when you're not. The same media that praises swagger in one player will label it cockiness in another. It's a double standard as old as sports itself, and it's amplified tenfold when you're the son of an icon. The comparisons to other quarterbacks only deepen that divide. Jackson Dart, for instance, has been celebrated for his confidence and fiery leadership, traits eerily similar to what people criticize in Shedeur. It's proof that perception is everything. The exact same qualities that make one player charismatic can make another arrogant, depending on who's watching. In Cleveland, that perception has turned toxic. Every day feels like a new storyline. Media speculation, teammate subtweets, anonymous sources feeding narratives. The result is a young player trapped in a storm not entirely of his own making. And yet, despite it all, the one constant remains: fans love him. They defend him relentlessly online, flood comment sections with support, and wear his jersey with pride. That kind of organic loyalty is rare, and it's scaring people in high places. Cam Newton said it best: "The NFL doesn't know how to handle players who inspire that kind of following without first being approved. It disrupts the hierarchy. It blurs the line between who's marketable and who's controllable. And when the fans start to side with the player instead of the system fights back." That's the quiet war playing out behind the headlines. The battle between a young quarterback finding his voice and a league that prefers he doesn't. Every press conference, every post, every gesture becomes a test of willpower. Shedeur's greatest challenge isn't on the field. It's staying true to himself in a world that constantly demands he change. Stephen A. Smith and Ryan Clark are right about one thing. This is the reality. It's unfair, but it's real. Every word he says will be spun, every move magnified. But Cam Newton's words offer the other side of the coin. Don't let them control the story. Don't let them dictate how you move. Because once they control the narrative, they control you. So where does that leave Shadur Sanders now? Somewhere between hero and villain, between rising star and lightning rod. A young quarterback trying to carve out his identity while the world demands he fit someone else's mold. He's learning the hardest truth of all, that being authentic in a manufactured world comes with a price. The storm around him isn't over. It may not end anytime soon, but maybe it doesn't have to. Maybe the chaos is the crucible that will shape him into something greater, something untouchable. Because while critics can dissect your words, they can't define your heart. And Shadur Sanders, for better or worse, refuses to be defined by anyone but himself. So what do you think? Is Shadur Sanders handling the pressure the right way, or should he be confronting the media head-on? Do you think the criticism is justified, or has it gone too far? And how much of this scrutiny really comes down to his last name? Drop your thoughts below, and if you're following the rise of Shadur Sanders and the storm around him, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. The story's just getting started.